Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to an episode of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the Let's Play where I'm playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft Bedrock, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course, destroying stuff. And in today's episode, I'm going to be working on something that falls between building and destroying. I feel like that describes half of what I do here, but I'm going to be working on something which falls a little bit in between those two extremes because I wanted to really just, fix something which has been a big mistake for a long time in this world because I have, I tried once to make a kind of fun build. It was going to be a sheep prison, and ever since I built that, I've just kind of regretted it ever since. So what I've, I figured I'm going to do now, finally, rather than just leaving it, there and just pretending it's not there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whole shulker box full of stone, as well as some extra stone, and we're just going to make it not exist, I hate the idea of ever destroying a build. I think it's always important to have your past be visible in some way, at least to yourself, if not to everyone else. But I also think at the same time, sometimes you need to just admit that it's not as good as everything else. Sometimes it's good. For instance, on YouTube, all my videos still exist. Some of them are unlisted, so yeah, it's hard to find them. But I tried to make sure all of my stuff still exists out there, so that I can go back and look and be like, wow, since the past, I have improved. I think improving that way is one of the best ways to improve as a whole. And yeah, in a similar fashion, I feel like we need to cover up the sheep prison. It needs to exist in some form, but I want it to be so that if you don't know the sheep prison's there, you won't find it. I think that's actually, that fits the YouTube unlisted system quite well, actually, because on YouTube, you need to link to an unlisted video, and, if it's a video I'm not proud of, or, a video I don't like or whatever, like a lot of these live streams, which some people like to watch, but, most people just get confused by watching 3 hours of me mining stone. Some of those live streams I private and, unlist, and if you want to find them, they're there, they do exist, but also people aren't going to be exposed to them if they're not looking for them, and I feel like that's what we're doing here with the sheep prison. We're basically turning it to unlisted on YouTube. So while we do that, I'm also going to be talking a little bit about Christmas. It's funny because this episode is going out on the 24th of December, which means I'm recording it a couple of days in advance because all over Christmas I'm just not going to be there, but I want you to have videos, so I'm going to be pre-recording just a little bit, including the Let's Play Monday. Couldn't miss one of these. And I was actually going to talk about something really heavy and big, which is the fact that I've basically been robbed, twice in 2018, as well as a third time because of the credit card fraud that happened during the stream, earlier last week. And I figured, because of this, it'd be fun to, talk about what I learned from being robbed, but I feel like what I learned from being robbed is probably a bad idea for a title, get off a video going out just before Christmas. So, yeah, the way we're going to unlist this sheep farm, just to be sure about this, again, I think there is some potential to make this go somewhere, but we're going to unlist it by just turning it into a big part of a mountain, because over there's a mountain, over here there's a little bit of a hill. We'll just connect the two hills together. That is genuinely my actual plan here, and I think it will go quite well, actually. So let's go on this one, I guess, and see what happens and if it goes well or badly. I assume it can't go too badly, but, I've made worse assumptions in the past, and that's what led to me building something as bad as this whole thing. So, yeah, we're just going to kind of build out from the hill here and then see what happens along with that. It's going to be an interesting... Again, I've never rebuilt something as a cover-up to an existing thing. In general, cover-ups are something which are, not usually endorsed by most people, but in this case, I think it's the perfectly fair thing to do. So, yeah, now we've got that out of the way, like I said, so it's Christmas, and I'm super hyped about Christmas. I like Christmas personally. I know that really comes down to your family, and, because even though I had a very poor, I would say, not as much contact with my immediate family as, most people out there, every single major holiday, I'd always, meet the extended family, and, therefore, I feel like there's a good family bond for the most part of most of them, and it's kind of cool that, oh yeah, this is the family time. And because honestly, family time, it's such a hard thing to schedule because at any given point in time, you're never gonna the most important thing you could do right now, hoping it's watching a Toy Cat video, but if you can't watch a Toy Cat video, it's probably I don't know, play a video game or eat some food. Eating food would be great. I've got food in the oven right now, actually, ready to eat right off this video. But, you get the point that, the thing you want to do most in the world right now is probably not going to be oh, let's go hang out with a family member. It's, there are some painful moments. There are some awkward, there's some things that come about from that. But I think at the same time, that by avoiding this, also, let's try and, cut in, yeah, we'll just end it here, and then cover that or something. Yeah, I think this is actually going to get really tricky really fast. So we'll just, we'll remove all of these blocks over here, just to make sure that this stays correct. And we'll just, move to the left of it. But, yeah, basically, I think that, Christmas means what you want it to mean. And I also think that, in general, I hope you have a good one. Because I tend to, surprisingly enough, I have good ones. And again, I feel like, though, having awkward situations or, having social situations which go bad sometimes, good sometimes. Usually not a good thing, but there are some like real benefits, because that's where you get the golden nuggets you never get before. So yeah, it actually brings me into something I've been thinking about a lot this last week, because just today I met a friend I haven't spoken to or seen in a very, very long time. Also, I guess we'll just build across from here. Yeah, that seems about right. I spoke to a friend I haven't met in a very, very long time. Like, I just kind of walked past him on the street while I was trying to get breakfast. He gave me a chocolate bar from his car, which I was a little bit suspicious of, because it's not a friend I have the best history with, and but you know, he did not drug or kill me, which was really nice of him. Thought that was great, you know. I always appreciate when people don't kill me, and you know, this guy, he did a very good job at not killing me today, so have to give him props for that, I think. But no, basically, yeah, the whole. Also, I think we'll make it a perfect cube. Let's just go for it anyway. I was gonna make it like contour to the environment, but I'll do that with grass or something maybe. For now, we need a perfect cube, and this is how we get one, just to show that it really is like it's a prison for the sheep prison, if you will. Yeah, you like that? That's a clever way to describe things. But no, the honest thing of like this was a guy I hadn't met in a very long time, and during the conversation we went through like a few I don't know, like social cue breakers, because okay, for instance, there's a lot of social rules that are written that even if you don't follow, they do still exist. Like, for instance, to try and come up with an example on the spot, I have nothing I can drop on the ground here. But yeah, basically, okay, we'll throw an elytra on. No, okay, we'll throw gunpowder on the ground, and then we'll pick up the gunpowder later after we've deposited the elytras away. But yeah, for instance, like there's this rule that you're meant to discuss really small things when you first meet, and you're meant to like build up the trust, and then you can talk about the high trust subjects or whatever. Personally, I like to go deep as early as I can. Like, so you know, first time you're meeting someone, first date, first meeting, encounter, whatever else, just be like, so you know, we're meant to talk about the weather and what TV shows we like or something like that. But I like to go full on the deep end, like, so, you know, what do you think, you know, do you think murder's ever justified? Or, like, you know, do you think, you know, like, what do you think about this super controversial historical event? Or, you know, even, like, just go a little bit strange on things, like, you know, so, do you ever get this thing where you wake up and you really, really need to pee, and then you do, but it's just, it doesn't work correctly, it goes you know, you tell that sort of a story instead, and it's like, man, that is... I feel like you get more from something like that. By breaking a social rule, a lot of the times you can achieve something. Because a lot of social rules, you might not appreciate or know this, because I'm only basing this on what we know so far. I think social science is like one of the weaker sciences out there in terms of like how proved objectively it is versus what we think right now. But you know, the reason we have a lot of the like kind of social things we have built in is for really, really old reasons, like, you know, going back to like the cavemen days. You know, it's even stuff like a handshake. The reason it exists is because you know, like the reason it's like a sign of friendship, a sign of you know, doing business, is because you can't have weapons in a hand if you're handshaking. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that that like really isn't applicable today. Like handshaking, you know, we really don't need that as a system, but we use it anyway. It's a social rule that we agreed to follow from all those times ago. And even though I would love to say that all social rules are silly, I know that some of them definitely aren't. Like, you know, having shame is important. Like, if no one ever felt any shame ever, then a lot of bad things would happen. Like, people would be doing a lot of things all over the place. Like, shame does have some value. You know, not all types of shame is good, but like, you know, it's a system which can potentially have value if we don't overuse it in the same way we do right now. There are a lot of social rules which do have value, but there's also a lot of kind of weird ones to me. Like, I don't understand why this came about, but there's like this really weird, again, it's really, really rude to eavesdropping people, right? That's a accepted rule of the world, rule of social interaction. But at the same time, everyone does it all the time, constantly. If you walk past people having a conversation, you're listening on them, right? So I like to kind of abuse this one. Because also, if you are having a conversation and you know there's people nearby, you won't talk about sensitive details or like, you know, embarrassing things or whatever else, because you know people are listening. Despite the fact that they're not meant to listen, and, you know, you should know that they're not meant to listen. For some reason, you just can't do it, because you assume, you know, they're not meant to listen, but you assume they are anyway. And given that I know most people aren't listening, I like to break that one a lot here too. So again, this is maybe a bit. Oh wait, this is not a perfect square, by the way. You know, it'll be close enough. But here's an interesting example maybe of that exact same thing. Because this morning I was talking to a friend. He has a van. We're like talking just outside of it, and we're talking about like back in school when we were like 15, 14, etc. And a guy's walking past us, and my friend starts to like lower his voice, like he's like this is a lot of private confidential details. We're gonna stop talking for a bit. And I was like, no, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this bad for him. Gonna make this bad on him listening. So what the conversation was about is when we were 14, we used to like 15, 16, I'm not sure, but when we were like super young, one of our friends used to hang out with like a 25-year-old who would like hang out with us and like buy us drinks and be so cool or whatever. And that was a really creepy thing to do. Like there's a certain age gap where it gets weird, and it's especially weird because we had a friend. She was 14 and she was dating like a 21 or 22-year-old, and that's very dodgy. Like again, if you're not familiar, if you are listening to this and you're 14 or older or below, if you're in that age part, that's something that happens all the time, but it's super, super dodgy, and you don't probably realize at the time. You're just like, oh, I guess he can drive and he can do this or whatever, but it's really, really, really strange. So in the context of this conversation, I feel like just to get this guy walking past, at the time he's doing it, because I was explaining like, at the time, I just assumed, like, as a 14-year-old, I was attracted to 14-year-olds. Therefore, if I was a 21-year-old, I would also be attracted to 14. It was something like that. And as the guy's walking past, it's something like, I say something along the lines of, like, I just don't understand why everyone's not attracted to 14-year-olds. Something really, super uncomfortable, dodgy, I'm sure. That's it. It's literally, like a full-on, again, it's painful to express that, and he had to listen to that and be like, man, what is any of that? He had to reevaluate his life decisions. But the thing is when you do like share something that when you think a stranger who shouldn't have heard you uncomfortably, it is uncomfortable. Most people have, like my friend was just like, man, he didn't want to talk for like a few seconds after that, because it hits like your cringe impulse, your socially awkward impulse or whatever. And I've always found that kind of interesting, that like sharing things embarrassment. Again, it's, how I said, like, shame's important. Embarrassment is also important for a lot of cases. But I also think most of the time that you're embarrassed about things, your embarrassment makes embarrassment worse. So I know a good example is if you're really, really scared about, let's say your outfit, you're not convinced it's a good outfit or something. This is a common issue I hear people have. And then you're like, oh man, I'm really embarrassed to wear this one out. It looks really cheap, or it looks really, whatever you're not desiring to be or whatever. So when this sort of a thing happens, it's really interesting because, you being worried about, how bad you look or whatever and, you mentioning it a lot, trying to get, like, affirmation, is going to make a lot of other people be like, now I see your weakness. I'll say something like, oh yeah, I mean, it does look really bad. And then they'll start making fun of you. And although the making fun of you might be like a friendly gesture in general, it'll, convince you that like, oh, I really was wrong about that. So there's a lot of types of embarrassment that are like just all thrown off there. And I think, honestly, embarrassment is just one of the, like, maybe I'm socially broken in this way, but I think it's just one of the one of those like social signals that just doesn't properly compute in my brain. I think a long time ago I learned not to care about most things, because most people are wrong about, like, honestly, this is I think a lot of people have heard the most common advice to get people over, like, you're so worried in school all the time, you shouldn't be, is because everyone else is also worried about themselves. They're so busy worrying about themselves, they won't worry about you. But a better way to put it is like, even if they are worried about you, even if everyone else is like super concerned with this, you probably don't need to care about their worry about you. I mean, the truth is, so again, there's like this thing where like most people have a lot of friends all the time. I can't. It actually stresses me out. I know a guy. He's a Twitch streamer / YouTuber. If you watch like 1,000 Minecraft YouTubers, he might be somewhere on your list. He's a smallish channel. I met him once and we follow each other, so I see some of his stuff. And yeah, so he's just friends with a lot of people. I think he's slightly gay, so he's like, again, not in an offensive way, but like that's his thing. So he has a lot of like female friends, like hundreds of female. YouTuber friends. And the reason I'm bringing all that up is because just seeing all these people that he's supporting all the time and like, he's keeping up with, and, they've got in-jokes and all this stuff, that is like a stressful idea for life to me. Like that idea is worse to me. Like if you simulated like, me going through like some extreme torture, if there's a version of hell, it's me having to keep up with 100 friends at the same time. Like, oh, hey, Claire, been a while since insert meeting occasion here. I hope that insert goal and aspiration of yours is going well here. Like that is terrifying to me. Because, like, being friends with that many people, I would need to be, like, nice. I would need to know what's going on for them. Like, that's how you stay friends with people. And that is, like, genuinely, like, one of the worst things in the world. So, yeah, the fact that a lot of people have so many friends is kind of scary. And maybe that's why most people, like, need the social judgment. Because to have, like, 100 friends in school, you need people to generally, like you. If you're not liked by most people, you might not be liked by like it's like a thing, like there's a snowball effect of like friends when you're young and in school or whatever. But is the Enderman coming after me? He's not. But yeah, so it's like a snowball effect, and I think the true reality I just got from that is like, man, people are just so bad at most things. Like so again, most people are bad at making judgments on things, and therefore they're bad at making judgments. You don't need to care about their opinions, which has always just actually been like how my brain has worked, whether I know it or not. And I've always found that one to be kind of strange. So anyway, yeah, the reason that relates to Christmas, which I should probably do, because, it's a Christmas Eve video. It's going out, like, right on the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day thing, is, because, this Christmas, it's a time to remember that having an awkward experience or two, it seems bad in your brain. It seems, might activate the embarrassment, or you're scared of it, you're nervous of it. But the truth is family are one of the few things where, whether I think, okay, so a lot of people who say, like, family is, like, water's thicker than blood, or whatever the phrase actually is. Blood is thicker than water. I'm not sure which one makes more sense, because I'm assuming blood is thicker than water, because I've drank water, and, I'm sure everyone's drank blood, and, the two situations are very, very different. Blood is definitely feeling more viscous or more whatever. So, blood is thicker than water is, I assume, the phrase. But, like, I've always thought, nah, if you have a family member who is bad and who is not a good family member to you, you can still have them be your family member, but you don't, they don't also own your, like, right to be basically friendships with them. So, but with that said, when you do have a good friendship with a family member, it's like a locked-in version of it. Like, okay, so when you really, really like a person, a man or a woman, or some, just whatever. When you love someone, you can marry them, and it's like you turn your friendship into like a locked-in, your relationship into this locked-in thing, right? That's some of the purpose of it. I think in 2018 it's like less necessary, but that's the idea. That's how it exists. That's how people use it, at least in 2018. So in a similar way, if you're really good friends with someone, you become family with them. Except you can't do that. So if you just become really good friends with family, it's like you've just married your this analogy is going bad places. But yeah, I actually enjoy talking to a lot of family members about a lot of things. That I've got a very diverse family. I don't know what that implies to you, but like, I mean, actually diverse in terms of like culturally speaking, like, but also in terms of like, oh yeah, so they all have very different goals, aspirations, jobs, everything like that. There's lots of different advice about different subjects I can learn from different people, and that's something that I like, because I like learning from conversations generally. I know that's weird. I know most people are like, I'm just here because I want to talk about insert terrible thing here. But personally, I like learning from any conversation I come out of. That's where I feel like best in a conversation, where it's like, because not every perspective is going to give you something different. If you only trust your own feelings on things, I mean, it's fine to do on a day-to-day basis. But if you only trust your opinion at the expense of everything else, then things are going to go quite bad. Also, I think we probably should have gone a little bit further away from this, because these things are going to combine soon. Maybe we should just like have a wall going around the outside of it, just so you can definitely always see it. Yeah, I think that's the best idea. So we'll just build the wall up to here, and there we go. That's like a solution right there and everything. But yeah, basically, I'm not one of those people who's like default loving family, because I think when you're like that, you devalue a good family member. I think it's important to give every family member a try. That's what they get, If you want to audition to be my friend, it's very, very hard. Like I said, there's not many. I want to, I like to be a good friend to any friend that I have, and therefore, it's not easy to, we'd have to have compatible interests and compatible schedules and compatible lots of different things, right? Like that's a key thing. Compatible things we want to do together if we want to be friends in real life. But not every family member gets like a free chance of that. And I'm making it sound now like there's like a competition to be like in my inner circle. Again, I want to clarify, I'm very much not. You would hate to know me. It's this is a burden that is a thing. But it's also maybe interesting to you. Or maybe I just sound like an absolute sociopath. I've always thought, one of the things I find interesting is a lot of traits of, like, let's just call it masculinity. But, you know, a lot of traits that are, like, considered, like, bad boy traits, maybe. Traits that people like in men sometimes, at least in the fiction, are considered a real, like, sociopath traits. Like, things that make you a terrible human being sometimes make you a good man. And that's like a scary thought that kind of links into all of this. So, you know, because, you know, like, think about, you know, Dr. House, for instance. Like, you know, he's, I hear he's very attractive, and that's because he's a sociopath. Same with, Benedict Cumberbatch. I forget what Sherlock. I don't know how I know the actor's name before literally Sherlock Holmes, but I do. But you get the point that those things kind of apply in that way. And I find that interesting, at least to some amount. So in case me talking about just how much I don't care about rules has got you really riling on about just how great I really am, make sure to send your requests for... Oh, I think we're out of stone now. Is there any stone left in here? Let's give it a real quick check. There is no stone left. We're going to have to start mining the mountain now, I guess. Or we could start placing dirt on top of this, maybe. Actually, I want to leave it in a box for a bit, and then I'll place dirt on it later. I think that's the better idea. So I guess, yeah, we'll start cannibalizing something around here. One of these mountains to get some stone. Or we could just go mining in the Big Divide. That's something we'll have to do there. So yeah, I think I said a lot of things today. And some of those things you might disagree with. But, actually, I want to finish my joke at the end here. If you think that Toy Cat the sociopath... for the record, I'm, 1, not a sociopath. It's just a fun joke. 2, I think that social rules are generally more... They're more good than bad on aggregate, but I don't think you have to follow every one of them all the time. But also, try to follow as many as you can, because that's better than not following any. And 3, I want to say that Christmas is one of my favorite times of year. And I hope that a normal Let's Play episode is what you wanted. Because, personally, I hate when everything customizes itself to be very Christmassy. I kind of like just, hey, Christmas is happening, but we're going to keep on going anyway. You can do your special thing, but we'll help that special thing happen. In the UK, for instance, there's no trains Christmas Day or Christmas Boxing Day. It means it's, like, really hard to get around. And I get why that exists. It's, you know, there's important reasons for it. But I like when things just exist. It's like, you know, if you think Sunday's a special day, then, you know, make sure everything's still open so you can enjoy your special day, you know, and other people can choose to help you enjoy it, which is personally always been my take on Christmas and whatnot. And that's why I try to release videos during Christmas. So if you enjoy your Toy Cat video in the evening with your food... Oh, food! It's in the oven. I need to go take it out soon. So thank you very much for watching this video. I don't know if you learned anything from it, but if you did, I'd appreciate maybe a like on the video to let me know that you did. Or you could maybe share this one. You know, let's be honest. You know, this is the Let's Play. These don't get millions of views because they're Let's Play episodes. They're really hard to get into if you're not watching the channel. If this was your first video, you just heard me talk about a 14-year-old girl I used to know who had a 21-year-old boyfriend, and you're thinking, man, this is bizarre subjects to come up in a Minecraft Let's Play. But you're not. You're a bizarre subject. Yep, I think that's my defense pretty well covered. But no, thank you very much for watching this video. Like it if you liked it, share if you liked it, and I'll see you all in the next one, which will probably be talking about the getting robbed thing, and also we'll probably be getting a bunch of stone from this thing. So looking forward to it. See you there. Bye.